What's going on, guys? Average Enthusiast here, and today we're taking a look at the Focusrite Scarlett 6i6 USB audio interface. Alright, so my first impressions of it are obviously from an aesthetic standpoint. It's a good looking box. We can all act like we don't care, but we know that we don't want to put an ugly device on our desk and use it. It's really good looking. It's got some nice knobs, stand out really well. It's made out of aluminum, the brushed aluminum feel. It feels pretty sturdy. So overall, you know, the looks of it I think are great. Really great looking device. So in my little bit of use that I've had on it so far, my overall thoughts are, first off, the preamps. If you've done any research at all, you know how highly regarded the Focusrite preamps are, and this is no exception. It lives up to the hype without a doubt. I've used some other audio interfaces from M Audio. I've used the original, well, not the original, and the Mbox 2 and the Mbox 3 from Avid or Digidesign, and they were decent, but I felt that I still needed to use you know, an external preamp to get that warm sound out of the microphone. But I've used this now for a couple of weeks, and I gotta say I'm pretty impressed. I'm just doing, you know, the voiceovers for the videos and things like that, but I don't feel that I need an external preamp because the built-in preamps are you know, really nice. So on the front here, of course, you have your XLR, your 1/4 inch input 1 and 2 selectable. Now the one thing that I have noticed that I'm not really sure, and maybe I just haven't researched it enough, is the selection on whether or not you're going to use the microphone input, the XLR input, or the preamp input, and you know, or as an instrument, things like that. There's software that comes on that comes for the computer controller software. I believe you have to select it in there, whereas, you know, in my experience with the Mbox, you know, for example, there was just a little selection button on the front, and you told it either, you know, mic or line. I don't see a button like that here. I haven't had the need to use a line input, but I don't see a button, you know, anywhere where I can select it. There's obviously nothing on the back. Again, that's not that big of a deal. You know, don't get me wrong. It's not like it's a deal breaker by any stretch of the imagination. It's just, you know, something that I noticed, and I haven't obviously cared enough to research it to know 100%. The other thing that's kind of an annoyance to me is having the inputs on the front of the box. Now I know if you're, you know, making changes, you know, quite frequently and things like that, that it's convenient just to be able to, you know, plug them in from the desk, and I understand that. In my use, it kind of just sits on my table, on my desk, like that, and it's good to have the knobs for the gain control, you know, and the monitor output and the headphone levels and things like that on the front. Obviously, your phantom power, but the microphone cable sticks out. It sticks out from here, and it just kind of gets in the way. Let me show you. Let me plug in this mic cable right here, and then let me move this back. So I mean, we're talking a good 4 inches, and again, I'm nitpicking just because I'm nitpicking. It's not that big of a deal, but if you use it in a scenario like I do, where it just sits on the table and you don't ever move it, you just control your gain and volume and things like that. I just kind of wish it would be on the back, so it's kind of out of the way. I can put it on the back of the table and it doesn't get in the way. As it is right now, it's just a little annoyance. Other than that, guys, I don't have anything negative to say about this thing. It's performed, you know, rock solid. This thing's a beast. It feels like it's very, very well made. You got these knobs here are rubber. They're covered in rubber. and they turn, you know, very, very smooth. They're not hard. They're not too easy. I mean, they got the perfect, I guess, resistance in my opinion. These knobs over here are made out of, these are plastic, but again, you know, they look nice. You know, you can see that they're brushed, and they're, you know, shiny and things like that, which looks good. But you know, they turn very, very, very smooth, very nice. Another thing that I really love about this is the separate, you know, headphone jacks. I haven't seen an audio interface yet that has two microphone, or not microphone, excuse me, that has two headphone jacks on it. You know, you've got to get a headphone amplifier if you're doing any live tracking with you know, another person so that they can hear. You'd have to get a headphones amplifier or a splitter, and we know how splitters work when it comes with stereo. But in order to get the other person, you know, a headphone mix, you'd have to get some other external software, and this just comes with it. One of the other things that I like about this one, the reason I went with this one instead of the 2i2, is the dedicated power. I didn't like the idea of running over USB power. Coming across the back, you know, you have your MIDI out and your MIDI in. Here's your USB, your SPDIF, SPDIF in and out over here. And then over here you've got two more line inputs, and then you've got your outputs here where you can connect your studio monitors up to. This here is a Kensington lock. If you're in a, you know, a public place and you need to lock it to your desk or something like that, you can do that. Yeah, I mean, it's very well made. I can say that it's kind of heavy. It's not too heavy that you know, you're not going to want to carry it around with you. And you know, the most important thing is that it sounds good. It sounds great. I wish that there was more that I could give you about it, other than the fact that it works and it sounds great. Again, the preamps are phenomenal in it. But I mean, that's what you buy an audio interface for. You want it to work, you want it to sound good, and you want it to be rock solid. I've had no issues with it. Again, it's only 2 weeks, but I've had no issues with it. And you know, it's a great interface. I would highly recommend it to anyone who's looking at getting themselves an audio interface. Okay, so I know you'd all be disappointed if you didn't get to hear anything from the interface, so I'm recording this piece as a voiceover. The mic I'm using is an AKG P220. It's a decent microphone, but not the quality of a Neumann or something like that, so it's a pretty good idea of what you'll get out of a budget home studio setup. So one of the other nice features of this interface is there's live monitoring around the gain knob on the front of the interface. You can hear me checking into the microphone, and you can see live feedback from the interface as to where you are when it comes to clipping. And this voiceover that you're hearing right now is 100% natural, straight out of the box. There's no plugins, no effects, nothing like that. This is just a microphone plugged into the Focusrite and the preamp from the Focusrite. I don't have a pop filter in front of my microphone, so that's the plosives that you're hearing. But yeah, it's very, very clean, very warm sounding, low noise. Just listen, I'm gonna be quiet for a minute. It's very quiet, no noise whatsoever. And if you'd like an idea of the sound you can get with some plugins and processing, I'm running this track through a couple of plugins, EQs, compressors, limiters, that sort of thing. This little interface is truly impressive. Okay guys, thanks for watching. Head over to the comments section with any questions and I'll do my best to answer them. And don't forget, if you like the video, give me a like and subscribe. See you next time.